This is Launch Complex 34, Kennedy Space Center, Florida. From this spot in a few days, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration will launch Apollo 7, the first of its manned Apollo missions. Apollo 7 is scheduled for up to 163 revolutions, better than 10 days in space. The three men who will fly Apollo 7 are Navy Captain Walter M. Sherrod, Jr., Commander; Air Force Major Don Isley, Command Module Pilot; and civilian Walter Cunningham, Lunar Module Pilot. Explaining the primary objectives of the upcoming mission is Flight Director for Apollo 7, Glenn Luntz.
The primary purpose of the Apollo 7 flight is to check out and qualify the spacecraft systems in Earth's orbit. These are the systems in the Command Service Module vehicle. The ones of primary interest are the life support system, the propulsion systems, and the control systems. In order to accomplish this, we have scheduled what we call an open-ended mission. What this means is that we will fly as long as we can within the consumables lifetime on board. The limitation is the oxygen available for the crew. During the course of this flight, we have a number of tests scheduled on the systems. Most of the tests are scheduled such that they can be accomplished early in the flight as we fly as long as possible, up to a maximum of approximately 10 days.
The Apollo 7 spacecraft is the most complex manned spacecraft ever put into space by the United States. The sophistication that has gone into the construction of the craft includes extensive redesign and changes made during the last year and a half. For example, the former two-piece crew hatch was replaced with this one-piece hatch that can be opened quickly from either inside or outside by a pad safety crew, and non-flammable materials have replaced flammable items throughout the cabin section. The flight crew has spent almost 1,200 hours training for this first three-manned mission, and the men have virtually lived with their spacecraft during its construction and testing. Training such as water egress, planetarium reviews, classroom study, altitude simulations, and 160 hours of flight simulations have fully prepared the men for Apollo 7. Simulations the past few months have not been limited only to the flight crews. Flight controllers in the Mission Control Center in Houston have logged over 525 hours of practice sessions to prepare them for the 10-day flight. After the first 6 revolutions, the crew may remove their pressure suits, since normally they would not be needed again until prior to re-entry. Each member of the flight crew will maintain a 16-hour work schedule, followed by an 8-hour sleep period. At least one crew member will be awake at all times. 5 experiments, 3 of which are medical, are part of the upcoming mission. The medical experiments are concerned with bone demineralization, blood studies, and lower body negative pressure. They will, however, involve only pre-flight and post-flight comparisons. The other 2 experiments are synoptic terrain photography and synoptic weather photography. A lightweight television camera weighing only 4.5 pounds will be evaluated during this flight to help eliminate any problems that could impair transmissions from future flights, particularly the lunar landing. The camera will be mounted in various locations for interior photography, but the crewman can hand-hold the camera for out-the-window shots. The television signal will be received by the Corpus Christi, Texas station and the Merritt Island Launch Area station in Florida. The video will then be relayed to the Mission Control Center in Houston. Perhaps the greatest concentration of testing and checkouts in Apollo 7's pre-flight schedule was during the countdown demonstration test held a few days ago at Cape Kennedy. During this procedure, every item, from simple headsets to complex computers, was tested. Communication links with the Manned Spaceflight Network, as well as the Mission Control Center in Houston, were verified as to overall compatibility. The launch vehicle itself was completely tested, and no detail was left unchecked. The crew portion of the countdown demonstration lasts about 2.5 hours and involves overall verification on such items as the environmental control system, emergency detection system, and a multitude of critical checkouts that must be completed before launch. Wally Schirra summed up crew feelings.
I think we've enjoyed working together. We've had a goal that's rather a hard one to achieve, particularly one that we have to follow on where we lost 3 of our compatriots, and we don't want any mistakes that might even be something like that to happen again. I think you'll find that you'll see a good performance out of this total crew, and we've tried very hard to make this machine work just the way it should.
Ground testing is over. Now, the major test will begin as Apollo 7 lifts from the pad to prove itself in manned flight.